guys, happy Monday. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. And I'm back today to read chapters 11 through 15 of Crenshaw. And if you've been following along, the little boy Jackson here has explained how he met his imaginary friend Crenshaw, who is a giant cat. And his family is falling on hard times. They are running low on money and resources, so they're currently selling all of their things at a yard sale in hopes of getting enough money to pay their rent, but it's looking like they're not going to be living in their apartment anymore. Chapter 11. I finally fell asleep, but around 11 I awoke. I got up to go to the bathroom, and as I headed down the hall, I realized my parents were still awake. I could hear them talking in the living room. They were thinking of places we could go if we couldn't pay the rent. If I don't become an animal scientist, I would make a great spy. My mom said, how about Gladys and Joe, my dad's parents? They live in an apartment in New Jersey. My dad said they only had one extra bedroom. Then he declared, plus, I couldn't live under his roof. He's the most pig-headed man on the planet. Second most pig-headed, said my mom. We could try borrowing money from our families. My dad rubbed his eyes. Do we have rich relatives I've never met? I see your point, said my mom. Then she said, how about my dad's cousin in Idaho who has a ranch, or her mom in Sarasota who has a condo, or his old buddy Cal who lives in Maine in a trailer. My dad asked which of those people would take in 2 adults, 2 children, and a dog who eats furniture. Besides, he said, he didn't want to accept anyone's handouts. You do realize we can't live in the minivan again, my mom said. No, Dad said, we can't. Aretha's a lot bigger. She'd take up a whole middle seat. Plus, she farts a lot, my dad sighed. Who knows? Someday at the yard sale, somebody might give us $1 million for Robin's old high chair. Good point, said my mom. It comes with extra Cheerios stuck in the seat. They fell silent. We should sell the TV, my mom said after a while. I know it's ancient, but still. My dad shook his head. We're not barbarians. He clicked the remote and an old black and white movie came to life. My mom stood. I'm so tired. She looked at my dad with her arms crossed over her chest. Look, she said, there's nothing at all wrong with asking for help, Tom. Her voice was low and slow. It was the voice she used when a fight was coming. My chest tightened. The air felt thick. There's everything wrong with asking for help, my dad snapped. It means we've failed. His voice had changed too. It was sharp and hard. We have not failed. We are doing the best we can. My mom gave a frustrated groan. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans, Tom. Really? My dad was yelling. So now we're resorting to fortune cookie wisdom? Like that's going to help put food in our kids' mouths. Well, refusing to ask for help isn't going to. We have asked for help, Sarah. We've been to that food pantry more times than I care to admit. But in the end, this is our problem to solve, my dad shouted. You're not responsible for getting sick. And you're not responsible for getting laid off. My mom threw her hands in the air. Oh, what's the point? I'm going to bed. I slipped into the bathroom as my mom stormed down the hall. She slammed her bedroom door so loudly the whole house seemed to tremble. I waited a few minutes to be sure the coast was clear. When I headed back to my room, my dad was still on the couch, staring at the gray ghosts moving across the screen. I didn't sleep much after that. I tossed and turned, and finally I got up to get some water. Everyone was asleep. The bathroom door was closed, but light was sneaking in through the cracks. I heard humming. I heard splashing. Mom? I said. Dad? No answer. Robin? No answer. More humming. It sounded like, how much is that doggy in the window? But I couldn't be sure. I thought about whether it might be an axe murderer. But taking a bath didn't seem like an axe murderer kind of thing to do. I didn't want to open the door. I opened the door an inch. More splashing. A sudsy blob floated by. I opened the door all the way. Crenshaw was taking a bubble bath. Chapter 13. I looked at him. He looked at me. I flew into the bathroom, shut the door, and locked it. Meow, he said. It sounded like a question. I did not say meow back. I did not say anything. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. He was still there when I opened them. Crenshaw seemed even bigger up close. His white stomach rose from the bubbles like a snowy island. His enormous tail draped over the side of the tub. "Do you have any purple jelly beans?" he asked. He had thick whiskers that poked out from his face like uncooked spaghetti. "No." I said it more to myself than to him. Aretha scratched at the door. "Not now, girl," I said. She whined. Crenshaw wrinkled his nose. "I smell dog." He was holding one of Robin's rubber duckies. He looked at the duck carefully, then rubbed his forehead on it. Cats have scent glands in their ears, and when they rub on something, it's like writing in big letters, "This is mine." "You are imaginary," I said in my firmest voice. "You are not real." Crenshaw made himself a beard out of bubbles. "I invented you when I was 7, he said, "and that means I can uninvent you now." Crenshaw didn't seem to be paying attention. "If you don't have purple jelly beans," he said, "red will do in a pinch." I looked in the mirror. My face was pale and sweaty. I could still see Crenshaw's reflection. He was making a tiny bubble beard for the rubber duck. You do not exist," I said to the cat in the mirror. "I beg to differ," said Crenshaw. Aretha scratched again. "Fine," I muttered. I eased open the door an inch to make sure no one was in the hallway listening to me talk to an imaginary cat. Aretha bulldozed through like I had a giant juicy steak waiting in the tub. I locked the door again. Once she was inside, Aretha stood perfectly still on the bath rug, except for her tail. That was fluttering like a windy day flag. "I am positively flummoxed as to why your family felt the need for a dog," said Crenshaw, eyeing her suspiciously. "Why not a cat? An animal with some panache, some pizzazz, some dignity." "Both my parents are allergic to cats," I said. "I am talking to my imaginary friend. I invented him when I was 7. He is here in our bathtub. He has a bubble beard." Aretha tilted her head. Her eyes were on alert. When she sniffed the air, her wet nose quivered. "Begone, foul beast," said Crenshaw. Aretha plopped her big paws on the edge of the tub and gave Crenshaw a heartfelt, slobbery kiss. He hissed long and slow. It sounded more like a bike tower losing air than an angry cat. Aretha tried for another kiss. Crenshaw flicked a paw full of bubbles at her. She caught them in her mouth and ate them. "I never have seen the point of dogs," said Crenshaw. "You're not real," I said again. "You always were a stubborn child." Crenshaw unplugged the tub and stood. Bubbles drifted. Bathwater swirled. Dripping wet, he looked half his size. With his fur slicked down, I could make out the delicate bones of his legs. Water rushed past them like a flood around trees. He had excellent posture. I didn't remember Crenshaw towering above me. I'd gotten a lot taller since I was 7. But had he? Did imaginary friends actually grow? "Towel, please," said Crenshaw. With trembling fingers, I passed Robin's faded pink Hello Kitty towel to Crenshaw. Thoughts zapped through my brain like summer lightning. I can see my imaginary friend. I can hear him. I can talk to him. He is using a towel. As Crenshaw climbed out of the tub, he reached for my hand. His paw was warm and soft and wet, big as a lion's, with fingers the size of baby carrots. I can feel him. He feels real. He smells like wet cat. He has fingers. Cats do not have fingers. Crenshaw attempted to dry himself. Each time he noticed a tuft of hair out of place, he paused to lick it. His tongue was covered with little pricklers like pink Velcro. "Those things on your tongue are called papillae, I guess," I said, and then I realized that maybe this wasn't the best time to be sharing nature facts. Crenshaw glanced in the mirror. "My, don't I look a fright." Aretha licked his tail helpfully. "Off me, hound," Crenshaw said. He tossed the towel aside and it landed on Aretha. "I need more than a towel. I need a good old-fashioned shake." Crenshaw took a deep breath. His body rippled. Water droplets flew like crystal fireworks. When he'd finished, his fur was spiky. Aretha tossed off the towel, wagging crazily. "Look at that ridiculous tail," Crenshaw said. "Humans laugh with their mouths. Dogs with their tails. Either way, it makes for pointless mirth." I pulled the towel away from Aretha. She snared it between her teeth to play tug-of-war. "What about cats?" I asked. "Don't you laugh?" "I'm talking to a cat. A cat is talking to me." "We smirk," Crenshaw said. We sneer. Rarely we are quietly amused. He licked his paw and smoothed the spike of fur near his ear. But we do not laugh. I need to sit down, I said. Where are your parents and Robin? I haven't seen them in ages. Sleeping. I shall go wake them. No! I practically screamed it. I mean, let's go to my room. We need to talk. I'll leap onto their beds and walk on their heads. It will be amusing. No, I said. You will not walk on anyone's head. Crenshaw reached for the doorknob. His paw slipped off when he tried to turn it. Would you mind? He said. I grabbed the knob. Listen, I said. I need to know something. Can everybody see you or just me? Crenshaw chewed on one of his nails. It was pale and pink, sharp as a new moon sliver. I can't say for sure, Jackson. I'm a bit out of practice. Out of practice doing what? Being your friend. He moved to another nail. Theoretically, only you can see me. But when an imaginary friend is left to his own devices, alone and forgotten, who knows? His voice trailed off. He made a pouty face, far better than anything Robin could pull off. It's been a long time since you left me behind. Perhaps things have changed. Perhaps the fabric of the universe has unraveled just a tad. Well, what if you are invisible? I can't let you just walk down the hall to my room. What if my dad wakes up to get a snack? What if Robin has to go to the bathroom? She doesn't have a litter box in her room. No, she does not have a litter box in her room. I pointed to the toilet. Ah, yes, it's all coming back to me now. Look, we're going to my room. Be quiet. And if anybody comes out, just, I don't know, freeze. Pretend you're a stuffed animal. Stuffed? He sounded offended. I beg your pardon. Just do what I say. The hallway was dark, except for the bathroom light, spilling onto the carpet like melted butter. Crenshaw moved silently for such a big guy. That's why cats are amazing hunters. I heard a soft creak behind me. Robin stepped out of her bedroom. I jerked my head to check on Crenshaw. He froze in place. His mouth was open and his teeth were barred, like one of those dusty dead animals on display in a natural history museum. Jax? Said Robin in a slurry voice. Who are you talking to? Chapter 15. Aretha, I said. I was talking to Aretha. I hated lying, but it wasn't like I had a choice. Robin yawned. Were you giving her a bath? Yeah. I looked back and forth and back. Sister, imaginary friend. Sister, imaginary friend. Aretha ran over to nuzzle Robin's hand. Aretha's not wet, Robin said. I used the hairdryer on her. She hates the hairdryer. Robin kissed the top of Aretha's head. Don't you, baby? Robin didn't seem to see Crenshaw. Maybe because it was pretty dark in the hallway. Or maybe because he was invisible. Or maybe because none of this was really happening. She smells the same, Robin observed. Nice and doggy. I glanced at Crenshaw. He rolled his eyes. Oh well, Robin said, yawning. I'm going back to bed. Night, Jax. Love you. Night, Robin, I said. Love you too. As soon as her bedroom door closed, we retreated to my room. Crenshaw leaped onto my mattress as if he owned it. When Aretha tried to join him, he growled. It wasn't very convincing. I need to understand what's happening. I slumped against the wall. Am I going crazy? Crenshaw's tail rose and fell, making lazy S's in the air. No, you most certainly are not. He licked a paw. By the way, at the risk of repeating myself, how about those purple jelly beans? When I didn't answer, he settled into a donut shape. Tail wrapped around himself and closed his eyes. He purred the way my dad snores, like a motorboat with engine problems. I stared at him, a huge, damp bubble bath taking cat. There's always a logical explanation, I told myself, and a part of me, the scientist part of me, really wanted to figure out what was going on. Still, a much bigger part of me felt certain that I needed this hallucination, this dream, this thing to disappear. Later, when Crenshaw was safely out of my house, not to mention my brain, I could think about what all this meant. A soft knock on my door told me Robin was back. She always knocks at the beginning of Wheels on the Bus. Jackson? Please go to sleep, Robin. I can't sleep. I missed my trash can. Your trash can? Dad took my trash can to sell at the yard sale. I'm pretty sure that was a mistake, Robin, I said. Nobody wants to buy your trash can. It had blue bunnies on it. Well, get it out of the garage in the morning. Aretha made a move to sniff Crenshaw's tail. He hissed. I put my finger to my lips to shush him, but Robin didn't seem to hear anything. Night, Robin, I said. See you in the morning. Jackson? I rubbed my eyes and groaned, the way I'd seen my parents do more than once. Now what? Do you think I can get another bed someday? Sure, of course. Maybe even one with blue bunnies. Jackson? Yes? My room is scary without my stuff in it. Could you come read me Lyle? I took a long, slow breath. Sure, I'll be right there. Robin sniffled. I'll just wait right here by your door, okay? Okay. I shot a glance at Crenshaw. Just give me a second, Robin. There's something I really need to do. So Jackson is trying to figure out if he's the only person that can see Crenshaw. I remember he made Crenshaw up into his imaginary room when he had just gotten out of first grade, and now he's in 5th grade. So it's been quite a while since he's talked to Crenshaw, and Crenshaw says maybe the rules of imaginary life have been changed or different now than they used to be. So check back in tomorrow for a few more chapters. Bye, guys.